Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and a man with far too much free time on his hands. This is not a test. This is a random review.
Before we begin, thank you very much to Retrex was a good figure, actually, for joining the Patreon campaign, and thank you for letting me say something ridiculous. It's always fun to start a video that way with a really random shout-out. Non sequitur. Makes for a really fun cold opening. So, thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you for making me say dumb things. So, we're going to get straight into it this time. You'll notice I have no face cam because I think I'm going to need the space on screen for this guy. So, if you've been watching my channel long enough, you know I'm not the biggest third-party guy in the world. I've got a whole video that I have to make now, thanks to my lovely patrons on my top-tier levels, that I will have to re-evaluate my third-party stances for 2023. But for now, I'll tell you, I have been buying more lately than I used to, and one of the ones that I bought that I've been, like, super excited about is the TransArt's Transmetals, and this Megatron I had to have. So, for context, Transmetal Megatron was my favorite Transformer growing up. Absolutely loved it. Spent the extra money to get the Japanese one as an adult because I want to be able to play with it without splitting in half. So, yeah, now I have this, like, the perfected take on it in metal T-Rex. TransArts with not the most creative naming schemes, but hey, we know exactly what it is, right? So as you can see, this is an absolute mammoth Tyrannosaurus. I don't have it in beast mode, but I will show you the original Transmetal Megatron by comparison. Yeah, he big. He real big. You know, I can do the tape measure thing because I actually have one right here. Yeah, if I stretched out the tail, it'd probably be somewhere longer than about 17 inches. That's a big lizard. Friend is, I have friends now who are, like, big on dinosaurs who would get really mad at me calling it a lizard. Let's just put it that way. It is cast mostly in this brilliant copper metallic plastic, looking brilliant. You got the silver in the tail as well as the fingernails. A little bit of gunmetal here on the arms. And then, yes, that vac metal purple that is lovingly placed across his body. The hips, the head, of course. The feet are actually not. The feet are, well, if you can hear this, the feet are die cast, so this thing's got some extra weight down at the bottom to help make poses stable, which is not a bad use for die cast. There's times where, yes, that stuff is actually very useful. Yeah, it's just absolutely brilliant looking. It captures the original Transmetal Megatron so well. Man, I mean, absolutely phenomenal appearance. Now, as far as the original one goes, you'll remember the arms being exposed in the front of the chest. Here, they've added some panel work in order to tuck the arms away and make the T-Rex mode completely solid the way it looked in the cartoon. Now, I don't like how the panels connect personally. I feel like the connection on them is not that strong, but they serve the purpose and they hide the arms and make everything nice and solid, so I'll give them credit for that. And features on this thing, boy. So let me take a close-up tour of the head here so you can really kind of see just like how detailed they got into this. Here, just the light so you can see the translucent red eye with the color behind it so it doesn't look dead. I always like to see that. And yeah, there's a lot of really cool detail going on this figure. Check this out. So we'll get into features here. So the head turns this and that way, and it can also look left and right. Has some articulation here so he can look up and down. Lots of range of posability that give him a little bit more personality when you pose him. And then opening up the mouth, all the teeth, which is all silver plastic, and then yes, he even has a tongue that is individually hinged. Great little detail. You can do quite a bit with him. You do quite a bit with him. As far as other posability, the arms here are on universal joints at the shoulder, and then double hinge here at what would be the wrist, and then ball joints for the little fingers. So that's a lot of posability, considering the original were just like one static component. If we go down here on the legs, the knees still work, because like these are just the robot mode legs. You can also like splay them outward a little bit without breaking the transformation. To adjust that further, you have actual ankle tilt, even that still works in the beast mode. Absolutely great. And then we go to the tail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ball joint spots to make this tail very, very flexible. Listen to that. That's interesting. All right, and then, of course, the tail also hinges open for the claw at the top. Absolutely perfect. Love how much posability you can get out of a T-Rex. Now, if you want the other features that this toy was known for, well, we've got those too, and we've upgraded them as well. So, if we flip out the dino feet, the roller skates are still a thing here. They don't have a locking point, they are hinged. So you can actually have him posed in different ways. So you can actually just have them at the angle you want, as long as everything stays nice and tight. On mine, they're nice and tight, so I'm not too worried about it. Also, die-cast wheels. This thing actually rolls. And then, of course, the sides come up for his flight mode. On the other side as well. Don't know how well I can actually frame this. I will endeavor to do so. Make sure he's not going to fall over on me. So yeah, the flight mode from the original Transmetal is completely retained. Of course it is. Oh, but we're not leaving it at that. We can't leave it off at that, because they rotate now. So just like in the original series, he can actually angle his VTOLs. I love it. Oh, he's rolling. Yeah, it's a phenomenal piece. So it looks fantastic. It does everything we could ever hope for it to do in beast mode. Can we do something with the robot mode? How's the robot mode look? All right, let's close up all this. We'll go ahead and get his rollerblades back in where they go. I'm gonna try very hard to keep this in camera shot while I do this, but keep in mind I'm having to stretch to reach, so this is gonna be a bit of a test for me. First off, just like the original toy, we're gonna come off and get the tail. The tail is now on a this little spring hinge that you can pop off like so, and we'll talk about this tail later, because guess what, we're not going to use it in robot mode. We'll explain that when we get there. For now, we're going to transform it a lot like the original toy. So we're going to start with this shell kibble, which I guess I should have hang on yeah, there we go. I will say, like, one thing I did forget to point out is that there is an individual hinge here. If you do want to splay the legs out without breaking the shell of the, like, entirely apart, that will give you the room to do it. All right. So also, like, it's just nice if you want the VTOL fans to look a little bit beefier too. So a little bit of extra option there. But for now, we're gonna need them in more normal spots. Let's unclip let me see. Unclip everything here. Then this is all going to hinge out like so. All right. Now, I need to get all of this undone. So you can see this is all the new engineering. Where all this like armature and all these extra hinges are going to get Megatron's arms covered. Go ahead and split the armor on the back. So we have room for all this to get out. Untuck the arms. For the shell kibble here, you should be, yeah, you can rotate it down to get it out of the way of the arms. We're going to deal with that here in a second. Go ahead and rotate them out like so. Works just like the original toy. Just a lot bigger and beefier when you do it now. Go ahead and flip these down. Need those here in a bit. For now, yes, we're gonna fold this down. There's a panel now, as part of the new transformation, that actually hides the back of the robot mode head in the beast neck. So even that was accounted for when they designed the toy. So you need to make sure all this is tucked up really well. If the dino head is going to fit inside the back cavity, if I can get it to fit without breaking. It's hard. It's hard. I'm trying to do this without looking. It's not helping. All right, tucked in like so. Then we can fold that flap down just like that. This is gonna start tucking into the sides. Right. All right, so we get those out of the way. All right, the midsection. So we know how this goes. This is a lot of spinning and twisting. So that piece, for starters, goes over there on one side of the hip. This piece stays where it is. Top of the torso has to rotate all the way around. Nice, solid, ratchety, clicky. All right, once it's all in the spot you want, bring all of this up. Make sure this is all out of the way. You're going to bring that tab to connect into this clip. Make sure everything here is lined up. Like, you kind of have to push the new neck piece of the beast mode into the Transmetal head in order to make sure there's enough clearance and make sure this lines up correctly. But once it does, you should be able to just work the dumbbell hinges and then just, should just be able to snap the whole thing together. There we go. It's a pretty tight clip. That's going to hold in nice and secure. All right. I'm going to make sure all of these are plugged together. So after that, that panel goes back down. Raise this up. Do what you will with the beast mode arms. Remember, they just kind of like hang off of his shoulders in the original toy. Make sure everything on the chest is nice and connected there. Going to adjust the wrists, which are very tight. And there. Now, I'm going to have to reframe this to get it into camera, but that's going to be the transformation for robot mode. All right, now that gives us Metal T-Rex in robot mode. I am now very far away from him. This is going to become a struggle, but as you can see, it is mostly the original transformation. The T-Rex head's new articulation comes with some extra bells and whistles, as does the closed-up chest in the beast mode. But none of it really detracts from the toy itself, and it doesn't overcomplicate it, most importantly. 90% of it is still the original transformation, and that's pretty much for the best because the original one did a really, really nice job. So, we can see that bronze, that the copper is still like real strong in this mode. I've always loved how the colors were laid out on this toy. Looks absolutely fantastic to me. Yeah, a lot more black here given way. And then, yeah, the head sculpt, really, really nice on this one. Let's go straight into the head sculpt, shall we? To give you a closer look. So, I'm going to tell you a couple things here for the head, because a couple things got weird. So you'll see the nice reflective eyes that mine has. Those are stickers that are included, which give it the look of the eyes from the original cartoon. I kind of prefer that because the head actually does have a light up LED gimmick. I didn't have button cell batteries, so you'll excuse me if I don't demonstrate it. But typically the eyes that you get with this are clear, so or translucent red, so you can have the eyes light up. If you don't like how that looks, then you can sticker over them with the optional stickers they include. I love that they thought of that option for people like me that don't like translucent eyes. However, a friend of mine actually got a version that did not have translucent eyes, and the entire the entire like circuit in the inside for the gimmick is gone. So he got one that there is no light up option. So I guess I'm demonstrating like how the version 2 is, just by like not demonstrating the light gimmick. Yeah, but for whatever reason, yeah, that's a thing now. So yeah, again, I've always loved this Megatron design. I mean, I love how powerful it looks. The giant shoulders work really, really well for me. He's got a big old backpack, but the fact that it's this the big turbines from his beast mode kind of makes me okay with it. He used it for flight in the show too in robot mode, so I always kind of use it that way too as a kid, even though it didn't angle the right way. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. There's so many little like accessory things. I think I want to show you the articulation right now, which we usually save it for last, but we got a lot of stuff more we can talk about. For starters, head rotates left and right just fine. It is a little bit limited, but for the most part, everything works well. A little bit of up and down motion as well. Shoulders are universal, and guess what? These not only hinge this way, they hinge this way. So you've got full range on these, and you can hear a detent in there too. So nice solid shoulders. Bicep rotation is so tight it can undo the transformation of the torso. Elbows are double jointed. You can get a full 180 degrees out of them. Wrist not only rotates but bends. And then you have the fingers. My God, the fingers. Ball joint, hinge, big hinge, hinge. Almost entirely like individual fingers. Fantastic level articulate. Great for just like subtleties. Great for like little nuanced poses for Megatron. Waist, obviously, like part of the transformation. Unlike the original, this one actually accounts for like keeping the waist joint intact, so all of that works fine. Universal hips. Again, there's a detent to them for security. Also a detent to the rotation at the thigh, the 90-degree knee bend, and then, yeah, there's also an ankle tilt for the feet, which gives you a ton of posability on this thing. Yeah. Now, I mentioned they were going for masterpiece quality on this. I think my one issue with the toy is that the head might be a little too large, just by like a small little smidgen. It might just be a little bit too big, but that might also just be me and my preferences. But for the most part, yeah, like absolutely fantastic. All right, so what else can we do with this thing? Like I said, there's a lot of accessories. So he does, of course, have his traditional weapon. This one has a weird way of working now. So in order to get this one to work, the hand has to be tucked up against the wrist, which is a little bit difficult to do. Okay, so there is a very specific angle that the hand has to be at in order to fit inside his big old weapon. So let's go ahead and attach that. You can attach it in both directions if you want the spine up or the spine down. So, don't make an accuracy thing out of it. It's just an optional thing. But yeah, works pretty well. Fits in there nice and secure. It's 2 spring tabs that hold it in place against the wrist rather than holding it in like a 5mm peg or something. And yeah, it also, like, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ball joints. Wait, what happened there? We lost a ball joint. Well, did you pay attention? Still in frame. The beast mode has a separate tail from the robot mode in order to make sure that this is all size accurate. So you're just looking at an extra tail for as an accessory weapon rather than this. This does unfortunately make him a bit of a part former, but at the same time there is a logic to this because this is way bigger than his tail weapon from the original cartoon. So that's the thing that TransArt does. They're not afraid to have like part form or replacement pieces for the sake of making it as cartoon accurate as possible. They do let this be a little bit practical, however, because inside the tail, we're going to see a few extra things that we have. So, for starters, you have these little pieces. Well, if I can actually pop them out, because there's a lot of little things in here. So we'll go ahead and pull a couple of these, and then pull a couple of these. They are stuck in there. I did not account for this. All right. Just take 2 of them out. There's 4 in there, but we'll take 2. Because these are kind of unassuming little sticks with ball joints on the end. So these are for his claws. So if you want to replace the claws up here, you just pop the ball joints like so, and then pop in these, and then you have the gun barrels that he actually used to try and shoot Primal when he came back in Coming of the Fusors Part 2. So he can actually do the shoulder gun thing that he had in that episode. That's a cool little inclusion. That's a cool little inclusion. We also have the alternate faces, which it's easy to just kind of pull apart, put that to the side, and then just, well, hang on. I need the whole face, actually. Hang on. Yes, give me your face. I need your face. So it does plug on like a lot of modern figures do. There's a hole in the front. You just kind of have to press it out of the helmet like so, and then pop in your replacement. And there we go. Ah. There we go. Now he's Angie Megatron. We got that now. We also have like the mid-monologue cocky kind of expression. I'm not a big fan of how this one looks. But, you know, it is definitely there for a use. And then, yeah, just plug this right back on, and we have a new look for Megatron. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. We want a little bit more to do with him, because there is more we can do with him. For starters, I'm going to open up the claw. The claw, you're going to spot this little port inside between the two. Because you also get a blast effect, which is specifically molded to fit around the claw, so it has more of like a visual energy burst look to it. It doesn't hold in place as much as I'd like to. It's not the tightest connection point, but when the claws are clamped down on it, it will generally hold its position, so you can have the blast effect going off. Incidentally, for the light up LED gimmick, this is the wand, because this thing on the end is magnetic. So the idea is like you press it on top and it'll make the connection and turn it on. But yeah, as you can see, that's not going to work on mine. So yeah, it's a nice little trick, just to make the LED gimmick as simple as possible while still kind of putting this weird little spin on it. Speaking of spin, I'll go ahead and disconnect this so it's a little bit easier for me to work with. And go ahead and pop the claw off completely, and then we'll swap it in with one last accessory. It's a very tight ball joint, apparently. It's the disc reader. So if you want to recreate the scene from, oh, no. Stop it. If you want to recreate the scene that made Ravage turn on the Maximals, here you go. It gets stuck a little bit. It's not the smoothest connection, but you know, then again, it's not the smoothest piece in the world. Also, the projector flips up from the top like a Polaroid camera. Yeah, it's a neat little trick. It kind of like I'm just quick observation for Mystery Science Theater fans. Doesn't that look like Gypsy? Just a little thing I pointed out. All right, fine. But yeah, as you can see, there's a lot to this thing because yeah, they tried to make a masterpiece Beast Wars toy in the Transmetal designs, and they're pretty successful. That is Metal T-Rex from TransArts. It is everything I ever wanted it to be. I love the original Transmetal Megatron toy. The fact that there is now this like perfected version of that toy is absolutely amazing to me, and I absolutely love it. This made me go in for TransArts a little harder than I expected to. So we might review those too, or when the new ones come out, we might review those. We'll see. But for now, thank you guys for watching. Hope this gave you some insight on a pretty expensive but pretty impressive piece of Transformer engineering. It is a fantastic figure and a fantastic attempt at perfecting what I consider to be one of Beast Wars' best designs. So, I hope you enjoyed. Until next time.
Yeah, I guess I'll give Bardic to Pain. Pain, my number one good best friend. You got this.
You're just basically like Caboose at this point.
Just
I'm
like-
church. Oh god.
That's all right. Let's keep this pain train going. The Caboose is here.
Son of a bitch.
No.
And yeah,
This
you get
makes me
Bardic.
Tucker. I'm quitting.
Gauss, take 2 psychic damage.